everybody. I'm so excited to be here. How true is this song? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Every single one of us has had hardships, but every hardship that we have teaches us lessons. Lessons that make us more resilient and lessons that make us stronger than the day before. For me, the hard seasons started a little young. I remember being 9 years old on a cold Minnesota winter night, crouching on the side of my bed, scared, with my heart racing, as the police bust my door in to arrest my dad. A man who I loved, but a man who was making bad choices and caught up in drugs. And as the officers handcuffed him, one comes in my room, and he shines a flashlight in my face and leans down. He sees my scared little face, and he says, "Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay." And you know what? Everything did end up okay. After a few more years of the chaos that comes along with addiction, both parents ended up in prison, and I went to live with my grandma Dorothy, who was one of the strongest, most resilient women that I've ever known. My grandma was my rock. She was my safe place. She would tell me, don't dwell on the past because there's nothing that you can do about the past. Focus on the future and keep moving forward. She grew up in the Depression, so she also told me, be grateful for what you have. Don't complain about what you don't have. And she showed me firsthand how having just one person in your corner, one person that believes in you and shows up for you, can change your whole life. Since the 3rd grade, I have been journaling. Oh, look, there's my grandma. I've been journaling since the 3rd grade and writing down my dreams and thoughts and goals. And you can see those journals in that picture. Those are just some of the journals that I've saved through the years. And the funny thing about it is, I read those from time to time. And most of the goals that I wrote down in those journals have actually come true. But I didn't just write down the goals, I would actually write exactly how I planned to get to the goal. Back then, or right now, it kind of would be what everyone's talking about right now, manifesting. But back then, it was just me writing down my plan and how I was going to get out of poverty and dysfunction and write my own story. I found out later in life that there's actually a real science behind this. When you write down a goal and are really specific about it, your brain flags that goal as important. There's a part of your brain that's called the reticular activating system, RAS. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's your brain's little highlighter. Once a goal is clear and written down, your brain actually starts noticing people, resources, and opportunities that can help you reach that goal. You've all probably experienced it. You say something like, I want to buy a house, and the next thing you know, you're noticing every for sale sign, hearing mortgage conversations, and you're meeting people that can help you reach that goal. Or you say, I want a red BMW, and the next thing you know, you're seeing red BMWs at every single stoplight. That is your RAS at work. So some things that I wrote down that came true. I wrote that I wanted to be the first in my family to graduate from college. So I moved to California, and I graduated from San Diego State University. Woo! Go Aztecs! I wrote that I wanted to be a TV news reporter, and I even wrote out exactly how many resume tapes I was going to mail out every single week to get there. It actually took 2 years after I graduated and over 100 resume tapes sent all over the country until I finally landed my first job at KOBI TV in Medford, Oregon. And get this, before I had that TV job, I actually had written in my journal, I want to meet the man that I'm going to marry through my TV career. That man turned out to be Mark Redal, the sportscaster who was at my very first TV station. We were married 6 years later. Write it down, make it happen. So in the television news business, you're always trying to jump to the next market. So my next stop was Green Bay, Wisconsin, which was Market 70, a middle market. But my ultimate goal of moving back to Minneapolis, my hometown, and working for WCCO TV came in 2001. I had been gone from being home 12 years. I was finally back home. I purchased my first house. I was spending time with my family and friends and my little brothers. Mark got a job at the Fox affiliate to be closer to me, and life was feeling absolutely perfect. But we all know that no matter how much we plan and goal set, life will throw us curveballs. So just 6 months after I got to Minneapolis, my mom got sick, and she died at the age of 49, which was the same age that my dad had died a few years earlier. And my 3 younger brothers, who were 12, 13, and 15, were left with no mom and a dad who wasn't equipped to take care of them. So just like that, I became like a single parent to teenage boys. But like my grandma always said, keep moving forward. And that's what we did. So it was during that time that I started realizing that the long hours of news reporting and the lack of flexibility that it offers was not ideal for my new family life. So I decided to go out on my own. I got a real estate license, sold a handful of houses, did some freelance TV and writing gigs. It was a wild 6 years for Mark and I, a wedding, 2 babies of our own, high school graduations for my brothers, and we sent one of my brothers off to college. Looking back, those were some of the hardest times of my life, but those are actually some of the best times. I'm so grateful that God brought me back to Minneapolis just in time to take care of my brothers and be that one person that they needed the way my grandma was there for me. So our next chapter was a move to Tacoma, Washington, to raise our kids closer to Mark's family. His dad's right here. I'd already dabbled in real estate, but at 40, I was ready to go all in on real estate and try to make this a real career. It was a challenging time because we were coming out of 2008, that foreclosures and short sales and all of that. So I dove in and started learning everything I could about short sales and foreclosures, and I assembled a short sale and foreclosure team. Around 2014, I started working with military families, and I really loved working with the military families. I just couldn't believe everything they had to go through to uproot their family, move to a whole new state, sometimes a whole new country, start new schools, sometimes buy houses sight unseen. So I dove into learning everything I possibly could about the VA loan, the PCS move. I wanted to be that person that could make that transition a little bit easier for them. So that has been a big part of my business ever since. I really love, thank you so much, military. Anyone here, military, VA, spouses, you guys, you're amazing. They're so amazing. So when the market turned around, I also started, builders finally started building again back then, and I learned everything I could about new construction. So I just kept learning every different facets of the real estate industry. I believe that when you really learn your craft, people can tell you set yourself apart and they want to work with you. So by 2015, business was booming so much that I was working 7 days a week, almost 12 hours a day, and it was affecting my family, and I knew something had to change. So I set out to start my company, Redal Real Estate, and build a team. My first hires were 2 stay-at-home moms who worked part-time, my assistant, Kelly, and my military marketing specialist, Jean, who's in Guam right now and still working for me as well. None of this would have happened without my amazing team who's at this table, Ann, Alyssa, Kelly, Mark. I want to thank you guys. So here I am. My kids are off to college. I am getting ready to write my next chapter. I'm not sure exactly what it is yet. It'll involve mentoring young agents, growing my business, traveling, maybe writing a book. But I have actually made this book for everyone tonight. I'd love you to come to my table. It's a journal, and it's called Write Your Own Story. And it's free. I want to give it to all of you because I know that you all, too, can write your own story. Thank you so much for having me here tonight.